देखो, so we will see about Graptozoa. So Graptozoa, it belongs to phylum Hemichordata. So phylum is Hemichordata. Then class is your Graptozoa, you can say, or Graptolithina or Graptolites. Anything you can say. So Graptolites means something, the fossil of the Graptozoa, it looked like something written on the rock. So that's why its name is given as Graptolith. Something written on the rock or on the, you can say, on the lithic part of the, you can say on the exposed part of the Graptozoa. When it is exposed on any surface, it look like something is written. So that's why it is called as your Graptozoa or Graptolithina. So this small soft-bodied organism, it doesn't have any your brain box. Then an important thing is it is exclusively marine animal. It is exclusively marine bottom dwelling. Exclusively marine and bottom dwelling. So it is also an extinct form which is only found in Paleozoic area. This found in Paleozoic era from your Cambrian to Carboniferous. Cambrian to Carboniferous. So they are restricted to Paleozoic era like your trilobites. So then comes to morphology. So morphology, the exoskeleton composed of corps, they are known as theca. So these are your corps. You can say they composed of corps like this. Okay, composed of corps like this. These are called as your theca, or you can say thecum. So thecum, its one end is open. Both ends are open. One end is open to the outside, you can say, or to the surface. Another end it open to a common canal here. There will be thecum here. There is a canal, common canal here. This is the opening space. Okay. So this is the open space here. So one end is called as a thecum. The one end is open towards the surface in thecum, and on the other end that opens to a common canal. It is like this, you can see. This is your thecum. So one end open to surface, other end open to a common canal with it. So thecum, it connect with, you can say theca were attached to rock by rod-like branch. So this rod-like branch here. So this is thecum. It both ends are open, one into the surface, one into the common canal, and this there is a rod that connect with the rock. This is called as your stipe or peridot. Stipe or peridot. So the open end, it is called as your, as usual it is called as your aperture. The open end of the thecum, it is known as aperture or mouth, and this completely, this structure combinedly known as rhabdosome, or polypary. This is your thecum. Thecum can present on one side, on both side, or either or side, you can say. So this is your thecum. So it open to one end to the surface, another end to the common canal. The side, the theca present, they are called as ventral side. The side theca is present is called ventral side, and the opposite will be called as your dorsal side. And the side, the theca that is open, जो side को तुम्हारा theca कौन है जो open है, you can say theca pointing direction, it is called as your distal end, and opposite is called as your proximal end. Which way la? Select it. So then comes to the mouth side. The mouth side of the thecum, it is called as a distal end. Okay. So if this complete colony it is also called as colony, it is called as your rhabdosome. So the mouth side it is called as your distal end, and the opposite side it is called as your proximal end. And the side theca is placed, it is called ventral side, and opposite is your dorsal side. See, at the proximal end, a small conical cup-like structure is present here. At this end, you will find a small conical cup-like structure here. This is called as your scicula. This is called as your scicula. So, at the proximal end, you will get this cup-like structure here. That is called as your scicula. And the apex of the scicula is known as nemma. So, scicula will be like this, a cup-like structure like this, and there is the apex of this, it is called as your nemma. You can see this diagram. This is your scicula. There is a cup-like structure here, and this end it is called as your nemma. It is called as your nemma. The nemma and stipe together they are called as your virgula. Together they are called as virgula. So theca and stipe, they together constitute the rhabdosome. So rhabdosome may have theca, or your stipe may have theca on one side, or it have theca on other side also. So according to that, we can divide it into different types. The rhabdosome can be uniserial, can be biserial, can be tetraserial, can be carped. So in uniserial, theca will present on one side of the rhabdosome that we have discussed. Then biserial theca on both sides. So you will find theca also on this side. You will find theca also on this side. So this will be your biserial. Then tetraserial. Suppose this is left, right. Then we get in the front, in the back. So in all the side you will get tetraserial. 4 simple rhabdosome attached to the proximal end. They attached by a plate called as your central disc. So example in uniserial, it is simple. You'll remember monograptus, it is uniserial. Then biserial, it is diplograptus. Then tetraserial is tetragraptus. Then if it is carved, it is called as your cyclograptus. So example is very easy to remember. So this is, you can say, uniserial. This is your uniserial. This is biserial. This is tetraserial. Okay. When more than one series of theca present, then rhabdosome is also called as your synrhabdosome. This is called as your synrhabdosome. So these are different types of rhabdosome. So in case of your multi-thecal condition, or in biserial condition, you can measure the divergence angle like this, how the angle is here, how much their divergence, that is called divergence angle. So in such the angle, the divergence is measured from the thecal side of one stipe to the other stipe. Then biserial graptolites may have a common canal. They may have a common canal, that is called your reticulites, or may have two canal like this. Suppose they may have a common canal like this, or the canal is divided into two parts. That is called your if the two common canal divided by septum, it is called your climograptus. Then biserial colony may develop into uniserial. Suppose we have two biserial colony, so they will separate from each other to produce two uniserial colony. As in example is your dicranograptus. Then two uniserial also they may combine to produce a biserial. So that is your dimorph graptus you can say, but dimorph graptus. So these are some examples. So then these are different shapes of your theca. It can be hook shape, it can be leaf like, it can be isolated, it can be lobate shape, it can be tabular shape. These are different shapes of theca. So next comes to Anthozoa. So Anthozoa belongs to phylum Coelenterata. It belongs to phylum Coelenterata. They have gastrovascular cavity within them. That's why name is called Coelenterata. There is a coelom or cavity within the organism. So it includes both. You will find extinct form, both living form. So it's so radial and bilateral symmetry, and most importantly, the name is because coelentron possesses a hollow gastrovascular cavity. There possesses a hollow gastrovascular cavity, or that is called as your coelentron. So that divided into your compartments by some processes called mesenteries. So there is a, suppose there is a cavity like this, and they divided into your different compartments by some structures, by some process that is called as a mesenteries. Then the body wall, it is consists of two layers. It is diploblastic, you can say ectoderm and endoderm. Outer wall will be called as your ectoderm, inner wall will be called as your endoderm. So you will find two types of coelentron. Some are free, some are your attached. So some are free, some are attached. So free and attached, those are called as your polyp. If it is a free swimming organism, it is called as your medusa. Some are free, some are just float. Sorry, some are attached, some are just floating on the water. They are not, they will not swim. So free or attached form, they are called as your polyp, and your free swimming form are called as your medusa. Under Anthozoa, you will find coral. It is your coral that belongs to Anthozoa. So these are characteristic of your Anthozoa class. So Anthozoa, it includes both your skeletal organism, some organism that doesn't have skeleton. So you also find it in solitary form. You will find in colonial form. Like your Graptozoa, it produce colony. Coral also produce, or Anthozoa also produce coral colony. So you will find both fleshy form and skeletal form. Main important thing is your coral. Coral means that is Anthozoa. We'll study about corals under Anthozoa. So Anthozoa, or you can say corals, they found in a very limited, you can say, temperature and depth range. So these are exclusively marine animals. These are exclusively marine animals. You can write down these are exclusively marine animal. They are exclusively marine animal, and they found in shallow marine condition. They found in shallow marine condition up to a depth of 200 meter. So they found in shallow marine condition and the temperate range condition. This is most important thing, where the temperature ranges from 18 degree to 28 degree centigrade. If temperature will rise from above 30 degree, then coral will die. If the depth will increase, the coral will die. So coral colony, it is very important in the, in perspective of marine ecology. So coral, they found up to a depth of 200 meter, and the temperature range should be temperate, or you can say warm shallow water, just warm shallow water condition. Sorry, shallow marine condition, not exactly shallow water, shallow marine condition, because it is exclusively marine. Then mostly corals are found in mid latitude region. What is found in mid latitude region? Found in mid latitude, you find 35 degree north to 35 degree south. Okay, so these are some characteristics of corals. Then move to morphology. So like other organism, also here you will find one end open. So it is like a conical structure like this. Okay, You'll find conical or other structure also, but mostly it is conical. So this end it attached to any substrate or any rock. One end is attached, one end is open to the water surface or open to the surface. So the body it is conical or cylindrical, you can say. Here like this, one end is open. This open end is called as your calyx. This is called as your apical end. So one end is open, another end is your attached to the substrate. Then from the mouth you will get a structure called stomatium. Then it will lead to the your coelom or gastrovascular cavity. So mostly we'll study the partitions in the gastrovascular cavity, like your mouth, then throat, then belly, like this. So this will lead to stomatium. Stomatium will lead to the lower end where you'll find the coelom. Where you'll find the coelom. So important thing here, they have coral have exoskeleton. So the exoskeleton of coral, exoskeleton of coral is called as corallite. What is called as your corallite? It is very important. Remember, the exoskeleton of coral it is called as a corallite, and the colony of coral is called corallum. So the colony of coral it is called as a corallum, and the exoskeleton of coral it is called as your corallite. So the corallite it can be of can have two layers. The outer wall of corallite is called theca. The outer wall of the corallite is called as your theca. It may have another coating that is called as your epitheca. So exoskeleton it is called corallite. The outer wall of corallite it is called as your theca, and it may have another covering that is called as your epitheca. So see, this is a coral. Okay, so its exoskeleton will be here, and the outer wall it is called as your theca, and if you have it may have another coating, it is called as your epitheca. ये देखो तुम्हारा डायग्राम रे. This outer wall is called theca. This is your calyx. This is apical end. There is a central column present along the calyx. That is called columella. And these are your partitions. These are your partition of the coelom. So we'll study detail about the partition. So the terminal end of the corallite is the apical end. This is the apical end. This is the apical end, and this is the open part. It is calyx. Okay, open end is called calyx. Closed end is called your apical end. So in the center of the calyx, there is an axis present called columella. In the central of the calyx, you will find an axis that is called as your columella. Then comes to the interior of the corallite. Interior of the corallite, they divided into partitions. They divided into partitions by different process. Those are called as septa, disapiments, tabulae. These are your different process or structure. They divide the coelom or divide the interior of the coral or interior of the anthozoa, you can say. So septa it divides the interior of the cell. So there are three types of septa you'll find. One is your primary, secondary, tertiary. So it is on the basis of, you can say, their size. On the basis of their size, primary septa, secondary septa, tertiary septa. If suppose this is the central part, there will be compartment or septa like this. They divide it into different compartments. So the largest septa, those are called as the primary septa. The largest is your primary septa. You can also divide it by smaller one, then another smaller one. So accordingly, the smallest one is called as your tertiary. The longest one is called as your primary. So primary, it is also called as your protosepta. And secondary, tertiary, they are called as metasepta. So the primary, it is called as your protosepta, and the secondary, tertiary, they together called as your metasepta. So septum means they are just compartments. So then these septa, they are kept apart by this structure. It is called as your descipiments. Septas are kept apart by descipiments. So those are structure that helps or they divide the interior of the anthozoa. So then septa, they can be straight. When the septa is straight, it is called as your asteroid. Septa can be curved. So if septa is curved, they are called as thamasteroid. If the septa is separated or very short in size, it is called as your apheroid. These are different septa on the basis of their size. Straight, curved, short and separated. Straight, curved, straight and short and separated. Then there is some depression present at the base of the calyx or at the apical end. Those are called as your fossula. They are called as your fossula. So according to the position, in the left side it is called left alar fossula, right side right alar fossula. The top part it is counter fossula and it is cardinal fossula. There are 4 types of fossula you will find. These are depressions present here. Okay. So this is called left alar fossula. Left alar. This is called left alar fossula. This is right alar fossula. And these are called as your counter and cardinal. Counter and cardinal. So the top one it is counter fossula and this is cardinal fossula. Counter fossula and cardinal fossula. So these are different shape of the corallite, or you can say the shape of the exoskeleton. So just read this part, discordal part, cultured part, pyramidal part. So these things are important, some important corals. So corallium, it is a coral that is called as your red coral. It is called as your red coral. Then tubipora, it is a coral which is called as your organ pipe coral. It is called as your organ pipe coral. Then heliopora, it is a coral called as blue coral. There are some important types of coral. So these are some microfossil group. So you just have to remember the name of the fossil and their composition and habitat. Okay. So like your that dinoflagellata, coccolithophore, then diatoms, what are the composition of their cell? So dinoflagellata, it is organic. Coccolithophore, it is consist of calcite. Then diatom, it is siliceous. Its composition is siliceous. Radiolarian, it is siliceous. Then foraminifera, it is, you can say, calcareous. Mostly you will say foraminifera is calcareous, but it can be organic. Then ostracod, it is calcareous. Conodont, it is phosphatic. Conodont is phosphatic. Then spore pollens, those are organic. So remember conodonts, it is a tooth. It is a tooth. Composition, it is phosphatic. It is only thing here you will see it is phosphatic, and we have studied all the invertebrates. Those are all have your calcareous skeleton. All have calcareous skeleton. So then habitat, mostly you will find marine. Here spore pollens, those are terrestrial. Otherwise you'll mostly find in marine or aquatic condition. Aquatic condition means you'll find both in marine and freshwater condition. Understood? So this you have to remember. देखो Gondwana flora देखिए. Comes to Gondwana flora. So Gondwana, it is deposited during your upper Carboniferous to upper Carboniferous to lower Cretaceous. So Gondwana deposited in 3 valleys in India. One is your Narmada Son Damodar Valley, Narmada Son Damodar Valley, then your Mahanadi Valley, then your Godavari Valley. So Gondwana deposition is found in these 3 valleys. So they are famous for coal deposition. They are famous for coal deposition. So the Gondwana deposition, it is classified into 2 parts. The whole succession of Gondwana, they are classified into 2 parts. One is lower Gondwana, and another is your upper Gondwana. So they are classified on the basis of fossil content, or you can say they are classified on the basis of plant content or flora. So Gondwana is also very evident in floran content. So you will find more plant fossil in Gondwana time. So that's why Gondwana is divided into 2 types or 2 layers on the basis of availability of plant fossil. So that is called as your classification of Gondwana, you can say. So Gondwana classified into 2 layers or 2 parts. One is lower Gondwana and another upper Gondwana on the basis of fossil present. So lower Gondwana, upper Gondwana, it is a classification you can write down. Upper Gondwana, the classification of Gondwana. So lower Gondwana, it is characterized by Glossopteris. Glossopteris. Upper Gondwana, it is characterized by Tilophyllum. So Glossopteris, it is the characteristic fossil of lower Gondwana. So lower Gondwana extent, it is you can say determined by the availability of Glossopteris. Then while Glossopteris will disappear, the appearance of Tilophyllum, it will determine the upper Gondwana layer. So these are characteristic fossil of lower Gondwana and upper Gondwana. Except this, you will find other fossil also. You will find other fossil also. Those are your fossil belongs to lower Gondwana. So that we will study. What are the different types of fossil you will find in lower Gondwana? What are the different type of fossil you will find in upper Gondwana? So these fossil, these plant fossil also, they can be, they are not the whole plant. They can be a leaf, they can be a root, they can be a stem. So this is also very important. You have to remember. You suppose Glossopteris, it is a leaf. So you have to remember, Glossopteris fossil, it is a leaf. Vertebraria, it is a root. So you have to remember those things. Keep the fossil, what is the which part it is from the plant. So Glossopteris, Tilophyllum, these are main characteristic fossil. According to this, we'll divide the Gondwana into 2 types, upper Gondwana, lower Gondwana. So we'll see what are the different fossil here. So first write down lower Gondwana flora. So just write down 2 or 3 points about this only. Okay. So this is your Glossopteris. Okay, so Glossopteris, so it is lenticular in shape. It is lenticular, means lens-side in shape, like this. Okay, then it is a leaf. It is a leaf. Then it has smooth margin, and this apex, it is obtuse. It is obtuse. This apex, it is not very sharp. So you will find venation here, like this. These are vein. These are vein. The main important thing here, you will find a mid rib here. Mid rib. This is an important feature. You will find a mid rib here, and these are venation. So Glossopteris, it is lenticular in shape, obtuse margin, then reticulate venation, mid rib present. Mid rib present. Length is 30 to 40 centimeter. It is not required. Then you'll find in lower Gondwana, you'll find in Talcher, Karavari, Barakar, Baran Majors. Those are Ranigons. Those all belongs to lower Gondwana. So this is your Glossopteris. As it is in lower Gondwana, you'll find from lower upper Carboniferous to lower Triassic. That is the range of lower Gondwana. Then this is your Glossopteris. You can see. Then Gamopteris. Gamopteris, it is same as Glossopteris. Only thing, the midrib is absent here. The midrib is absent. Gamopteris. Only the midrib is absent. Same as Glossopteris, only midrib is absent. Then comes to Vertebraria. Vertebraria, it is a rhizome or root. So you'll find brick wall like structure here. You'll find brick wall like structure. So 2 or 3 series of brick wall like structure. Simple. The main characteristic of Vertebraria, it is a root and it has big brick wall appearance. It has brick wall appearance. So these are your Vertebraria. You can see here fossil. Then goes to Gondwana. So it has a very large front, obtuse type, semicircular type front. So you'll find these in margin. You'll find this your tabular pinnae, and there is a prominent midrib present. So this is your Gondwana. This is a very large front. You can say semicircular apex, then prominent midrib and tabular pinnae. Next comes to Noisera Theopsis. This main important thing is it is very large. It is very large, up to 80 centimeter fine. Noisera Theopsis. So it has same parallel margin, obtuse apex, parallel venation, but important thing is very large. Then Cijonaria. Cijonaria, it is a stem. It has a stem where all the leaf will join here. The stem is hollow. The stem is hollow. The leaves are united at this base. The leaf has obtuse margin, obtuse apex, parallel venation. Obtuse apex and parallel venation. So then comes to upper Gondwana. So upper Gondwana characteristic fossil is your Tylophyllum. Also Williamsonia, it also belongs to upper Gondwana. So it has a 2-meter high stem. It's a stem that covered with conical leaf base. It's like a palm tree. So palm-like leaves are present at the apex, and sporangium is covered by leaves. It is look like a palm tree. Then comes to Tylophyllum. So Tylophyllum, This is the Tylophylum. By the main frond, it's divided into number of lancet stem structure, or it is this called as your pinnules. It is called as your pinnules, or in singular you can say pinnae. So lancet shape divided into lancet shape pinnules, which has a very acute apex. They have a very acute apex. So pinnules, they also have this midrib. They also have midrib, and the pinnules they are joined to a common pillar-like structure here. It's called as your rachis. It's called as your rachis. So Tylophylum, it is a leaf. Then the way मन रखिବାକୁ पड़िବ. So I have to remember this. What is the form of the fossil? Like here leaves, Tylophylum, Pteridophyllum, Otozomites, Dictozomites. Those are your leaves. Then stem, your Bauchlandia, Pentaxylon. Then a flower, which Williamsonia. Williamsonia is a flower. So this thing you have to remember. Okay. Then these are age. From the age you will know whether they are belongs to upper Gondwana or lower Gondwana. This is only upper Gondwana fossil. And this is another table that indicates the lower Gondwana fossil. Distribution of lower Gondwana fossil, whether they are leaf, they are your stem or root, you know from this table.